Gentlemen, Nathan MacKinnon, by his own standards, had not been having a good tournament. But Frankie, he delivered when he absolutely needed to.
And think about what was on the line. Canada potentially trying to play for a gold medal game. You don't have Sidney Crosby in the lineup. The Czechs played Canada hard. The Finns basically used the same game plan to try and slow down Canada. But Nathan MacKinnon, who hasn't necessarily played his best, whether he's not feeling his best or there's something nagging him, hasn't really had the big moment yet, but in this game, Nathan MacKinnon, he finally has it. He draws the penalty late in the game, a high stick, and eventually ends up scoring the power play goal with 2 seconds left on the power play. A great moment for him.
Canada was minutes away from elimination. Their captain was out. Finland led by 2-0. The semifinal seemed settled. Then the power play struck. A tying goal forced a reset. And with 35.2 seconds left, Nathan MacKinnon fired a shot that changed the Olympic bracket. A 2-goal deficit turned into a 3-2 win, and the fallout reshaped the tournament picture. Canada entered the Olympic semifinal against Finland without team captain Sidney Crosby, who missed the game due to injury, according to Reuters. Finland, the defending Olympic champions, started strong. They scored first on a power play. Later, they added a shorthanded goal. Canada trailed 2-0. The pressure increased with each passing shift. Finland controlled the early pace. Their power play unit moved the puck quickly and found open space. The shorthanded goal extended their lead and placed Canada in a difficult position. Through 2 periods, Canada had not scored. The Finnish defense blocked shooting lanes and limited second chances. The semifinal appeared to be moving in Finland's direction, but the third period changed the flow of the game. Sam Reinhart scored to cut the deficit to 2-1. That goal came during sustained offensive pressure. Canada increased its shot volume after that point, and the puck stayed longer in Finland's zone. Defensive pairings were forced to adjust, and the pace shifted. Shea Theodore later tied the game at 2-2 in the same period. Canada had erased a 2-goal deficit within 1 period of play. The arena response grew louder. Finland, which had led for most of the game, now faced a tied score late in regulation. The semifinal was no longer under their control. Then came the final minute. Canada received a power play opportunity late in regulation. The puck moved along the blue line. Connor McDavid handled possession and scanned the ice. He delivered a cross-ice pass. Nathan MacKinnon positioned himself for a one-timer and struck the puck cleanly. The shot beat the goaltender high in the net. The clock showed 35.2 seconds remaining. Reuters reported that Canada fight back to beat Finland and reach the men's gold medal game. The goal gave Canada its first lead of the game. Finland had limited time to respond, and they were unable to score again. The final score was Canada 3, Finland 2. The comeback was completed entirely in the third period. 3 unanswered goals shifted the outcome. The defending Olympic champions were eliminated from gold medal contention. Canada advanced to the championship game. And with that late strike, the semifinal turned into one of the most dramatic finishes of the tournament, but the impact of that goal extended far beyond just one game. Finland had entered the game as defending Olympic champion. Their early power play goal and short-handed goal demonstrated discipline and structure. For 2 periods, they limited Canada's scoring chances. The defensive system forced Canada to shoot from the perimeter, and that structure held until the third period. Canada's third period surge changed statistical momentum. Reinhart's goal reduced the margin to 1. Theodore's goal tied the score. MacKinnon's goal completed 3 unanswered goals in the final period. Finland did not record another goal after taking the 2-0 lead earlier in the game. Sidney Crosby's absence was part of the context surrounding the semifinal. Reuters noted that he did not play due to injury. Canada's roster relied on contributions across multiple lines, and the tying and winning goals came from different players. Depth scoring played a central role in the outcome. The semifinal was played at the Santa Giulia Ice Hockey Arena in Milan. The result advanced Canada into the final round of the men's tournament. Finland moved to the bronze medal path. The Olympic bracket shifted immediately after the final horn. This tournament marks the return of NHL players to Olympic competition after previous absences. The Milan Cortina 2026 games feature active NHL athletes in the men's tournament. Canada's roster includes several current NHL stars, including McDavid and MacKinnon. With a 3-2 victory confirmed, Canada now prepares for the gold medal game. The semifinal result, decided in the final 35.2 seconds, altered the medal landscape. One shot on a late power play determined who would compete for Olympic gold.
The wait is over.
It's been a really long time. We need to get best on best back at those big games where it's country against country and it becomes more than hockey.
Opening night of the Four Nations face-off.
Well, for me, it's Celebrini, McDavid, Wilson. I love that. I think that that's a really good line. I saw how they come together there. And the reason McDavid, who's going to have the biggest spotlight on him, he's going to shoulder a lot of the responsibility for this team, as he should, and he's ready to do. But Tommy Wilson on that right side of him.
This message became official. Connor McDavid was confirmed in Canada's Olympic leadership group. Austin Matthews remains the captain of Team USA. Both decisions were made just days before opening face-offs in Milan. With NHL players returning after 12 years, leadership choices now shape the Olympic stage. Connor McDavid's appointment as alternate captain places him directly inside Canada's Olympic leadership group. McDavid plays center for the Edmonton Oilers and is participating in his first Olympic Games with NHL involvement. He did not compete in the 2018 or 2022 Winter Olympics due to the NHL's absence. Milan marks his first appearance at an Olympics featuring full NHL participation. Hockey Canada stated that the leadership structure of Crosby as captain, with McDavid and Cale Makar as alternates, was carried over from the Four Nations Face-Off tournament held earlier this year. During that tournament, Crosby wore the captain's C, while McDavid and Makar served as alternates. Canada defeated the United States in the final. Officials confirmed the same structure was retained for Olympic competition. Sidney Crosby was officially named captain of Team Canada before the team's first on-ice practice in Milan. Crosby is 38 years old and plays center for the Pittsburgh Penguins. This is his third Olympic Games. He previously captained Canada to gold at the 2014 Winter Olympics and scored the overtime goal that decided the gold medal game at the 2010 Vancouver Olympic. That goal has been referenced repeatedly in official Olympic coverage. McDavid's role as alternate captain reflects his position within Canada's roster and leadership planning. Before leaving for Olympic duty, McDavid recorded 21 goals and 48 assists in 49 NHL games during the 2025-26 season. Those numbers were confirmed by league statistics prior to the Olympic break. On the American side, USA Hockey announced that Austin Matthews will captain Team USA at the Milano Cortina Games. Matthews is 28 years old and plays center for the Toronto Maple Leafs. This marks his first Olympic appearance as team captain. USA Hockey officials cited leadership continuity as a factor in maintaining the same captain and alternates. The announcement came shortly after the team arrived in Milan and completed its initial training session. Matthews entered the Olympics after recording 26 goals and 22 assists in 51 NHL games during the season. USA Hockey stated that leadership selections were based on international experience and recent tournament roles rather than regular season production alone. Matthews previously represented the United States in multiple World Championship events and international competitions. Hockey Canada confirmed that leadership responsibilities were finalized before Canada's first full practice. The federation stated that the group's previous experience together influenced the decision to maintain the same structure used in earlier international competition. During the Four Nations Face-Off tournament, Canada's leadership group guided the team through a condensed schedule similar to Olympic conditions. That tournament featured back-to-back games and limited recovery time. Officials referenced that experience when discussing leadership continuity. Hockey Canada outlined defined leadership roles. Crosby provides experience and game management. McDavid contributes pace, offensive structure, and transition play. Makar supports defensive execution and puck movement from the back end. Officials confirmed that responsibilities were assigned prior to competition. For Team USA, Matthews' captaincy places him at the center of American preparation. USA Hockey confirmed that Matthews will handle on-ice leadership duties during stoppages and bench communication. McAvoy and Tikachuk support defensive and physical play responsibilities. The leadership announcements marked a shift in tournament coverage. Media attention moved from roster speculation to competitive outcome. Olympic organizers confirmed increased coverage for early group games involving Canada and the United States. Statistical tracking from international tournaments shows that leadership groups often log higher ice time during critical situations. Special teams deployment and late-game usage are influenced by captaincy assignments under IIHF rules. As opening face-offs approach, Olympic hockey enters its execution phase. With leadership confirmed and NHL participation restored, the tournament structure is now fully in place. McDavid's role alongside Crosby and Matthews' role for Team USA define the competitive framework ahead of elimination play. The confirmation of leadership groups established clarity. Preparation is complete. Tournament conditions are set. Olympic men's hockey now moves forward with captains named and responsibilities assigned.
Good luck, Team Canada. You've earned this moment. After long days and late nights, through through discipline, sacrifice, and relentless effort, you're ready to compete at the highest level.
The wait is over. The biggest rivalry in hockey has reached the Olympic stage once again. Team Canada and Team USA arrive in Milan with full NHL rosters and clear goals. Captains are named. Lineups are set. Fans have been counting days for this moment. When Canada and the United States meet at the Olympics, history, pressure, and preparation collide.
Forward lines for Team Canada could potentially look like, but nothing set in stone yet.
Well, for me, it's Celebrini, McDavid, Wilson. I love that. I think that that's a really good line. I saw how they come together there. And the reason McDavid, who's going to have the biggest spotlight on him, he's going to shoulder a lot of the responsibility for this team, as he should, and he's ready to do. But Tommy Wilson on that right side of him.
The 2026 Winter Olympics in Milano Cortina mark a major return for international hockey. For the first time since 2014, NHL players are competing in the Olympic Games. The league paused its season to allow full participation. This decision changed the level of competition immediately. Canada arrived with a roster built from elite NHL talent, international experience, and Olympic success. Team Canada officially named its men's Olympic roster on December 31st, 2025. The team includes 25 players, all with professional experience. The roster was selected by Hockey Canada after months of evaluation. The group combines veteran leadership, playoff-tested stars, and players with past international success. Sidney Crosby was named captain of Team Canada. The decision was announced before the team traveled to Milan. Crosby has won 2 Olympic gold medals in 2010 and 2014. He scored the overtime goal that decided the gold medal game at the 2010 Vancouver Olympics. His Olympic experience spans more than a decade. Canada's leadership group also includes alternate captains drawn from top NHL teams. These players have logged hundreds of playoff games. Several have worn the maple leaf in world championships and best-on-best tournaments. This structure gives Canada stability on the ice and clarity in decision-making during high-pressure moments. The Canadian roster is built around depth. Every line includes players who contribute at both ends of the ice. Defense pairs include puck-moving defensemen and physical shutdown players. Goaltending selections were based on recent NHL performance and international results. Hockey Canada confirmed that balance and consistency guided the final selections. Team USA also finalized its roster ahead of the games. USA Hockey selected a mix of veteran NHL players and younger skaters with recent international experience. The American roster emphasizes speed and transition play. Several players come from teams known for fast-paced systems in the NHL. Despite the strength of the U.S. lineup, Canada enters the matchup with historical advantage. Canada and the United States have faced each other multiple times in Olympic men's hockey. Canada won the gold medal game in 2010 and defeated the United States in the semifinals in 2014. Those games were decided by narrow margins. The Olympic schedule placed Canada and the United States in the same preliminary round group. This guarantees a group stage meeting before the knockout rounds. Group placement affects seeding and quarterfinal matchups. A win provides a measurable advantage in the tournament structure. Team Canada arrived in Milan following the NHL Olympic break. Players traveled within days of their last league game. Practices were held at Santa Giulia Arena. Coaching staff focused on adapting to international ice size and IIHF rules. These rules differ from the NHL in areas such as icing, overtime, and physical play. Canada's coaching staff, led by John Cooper, set clear expectations before the tournament. Cooper stated publicly that the goal was a gold medal. The message reflected Canada's approach to Olympic hockey. Performance standards were defined before the first practice. In the lead-up to the Olympic group stage meeting, players from both sides addressed the rivalry. The statement was published in international coverage ahead of the game. Canada's preparation emphasized discipline and structure. Practices focused on special teams, execution, and defensive zone coverage. Coaching staff monitored player workload due to the quick transition from NHL play to Olympic competition. The Canadian roster includes multiple players with over 100 NHL playoff games. Several have won Stanley Cups. This experience is critical in short tournaments where mistakes carry immediate consequences. Team USA's roster includes players who recently competed in IIHF World Championships. USA Hockey stated stated that roster balance and defensive depth were priorities. Their preparation focused on speed through the neutral zone and quick puck movement. Olympic group standings are decided by points, goal differential, and head-to-head results. The Canada-USA game directly affects these metrics. A timing of the matchup adds pressure. The game takes place early in the tournament, shortly after both teams' opening win. Analysts noted that early results often influence confidence and tactical adjustments in later rounds. Broadcasters projected increased viewership based on previous Olympic meetings. Security and staffing were increased for the game due to expected attendance and media presence. Olympic officials confirmed additional measures for high-profile rivalry matchups. Statistical tracking after the opening games showed Canada near the top of the tournament in shots allowed and face-off percentage. These metrics were released in official Olympic summaries. Canada's roster stability contrasts with the rapid pace of Olympic scheduling. With lines and pairings established early, the team minimized experimentation. This approach reflected confidence in roster selection. The Canada-USA Olympic matchup does not decide a medal. It does not eliminate either team. It shapes the path forward. It defines standing, seeding, and momentum as the tournament progresses. For Team Canada, the objective remains unchanged. Preparation, depth, leadership, and execution guide every decision as the rivalry resumes on Olympic ice in Milan.
On this Sunday night, after a 12-year break, NHL players return to the Olympics.
Excited to be here, definitely.
With Olympic gold on the line, Sidney Crosby is named Team Canada captain.
Two captains were chosen, and Olympic hockey changed instantly. One decision came from the United States. The other came from Canada. NHL players are back after 12 years away, and leadership is now locked in. What happens next will shape every game, every matchup, and every medal race that follows. The Olympic men's ice hockey tournament in Milan entered a new phase after leadership announcements from the two most watched teams. The United States named Austin Matthews as captain. Canada named Sidney Crosby. Both decisions were confirmed by national federations and reported by Reuters. The appointments came days before competition began, with NHL players returning to the Olympics for the first time since 2014, and attention quickly followed. USA Hockey announced that Matthews will lead the American roster at the Milano Cortina 2026 Winter Game. The decision kept the same leadership group used during the Four Nations Face-Off tournament earlier this year. Charlie McAvoy and Matthew Tkachuk were also named alternate captains. That group represented the United States in a tournament that ended with a loss to Canada in the final, and the structure now carries into Olympic play. Matthews is 28 years old and plays center for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Before leaving for Olympic duty, he recorded 26 goals and 22 assists in 51 NHL games this season. USA Hockey confirmed that this will be Matthews' first Olympic appearance as team captain. Team officials stated that the leadership group was selected based on previous international experience and recent tournament roles, and the announcement came shortly after the team arrived in Milan. The United States held its first on-ice practice at the Santa Giulia Arena, the primary venue for the men's tournament. According to tournament schedules released by Olympic organizers, Team USA will open group play against Latvia. Practices were held with full NHL participation, marking the league's official return to Olympic competition after a 12-year absence. On the same day, Hockey Canada confirmed its captain. Sidney Crosby was named to lead the Canadian men's team. Crosby is 38 years old and plays center for the Pittsburgh Penguins. This will be his third Olympic game. He previously captained Canada at the 2014 Winter Olympics and scored the gold medal winning goal at the 2010 games in Vancouver, a moment referenced repeatedly in official coverage. Hockey Canada stated that the trio had already worked together during the Four Nations Face-Off tournament, and the structure was maintained heading into the Olympics. Canada's roster was finalized in late December after an initial 6-player announcement earlier in the year. Both teams arrived in Milan within days of the announcements. NHL players from across the league joined national camps as Olympic competition approached. With captains now confirmed, attention shifted from roster selection to performance, and the tournament moved closer to its opening face-offs. The leadership announcements also highlighted the broader shift taking place inside Olympic hockey. NHL participation returned after the league reached agreements allowing players to compete in the Winter Games for the first time since 2014. According to NHL and Olympic officials, 148 NHL players are participating in the men's tournament in Milan, with more than 120 making their Olympic debut. That return reshaped team expectations immediately. On the American side, USA Hockey policy emphasized stability. According to Reuters, team management viewed recent international chemistry as a factor in maintaining the same structure entering Olympic play. The United States men's team has not won Olympic gold since 1980. That fact has been referenced repeatedly in coverage surrounding the NHL's return. With Matthews leading the roster, Team USA Open preparations focused on international ice dimensions, rule adjustments, and condensed scheduling. Practices in Milan followed a compressed timeline as teams adjusted quickly. Olympic officials confirmed that fighting is prohibited under international rule, consistent with past Olympic tournaments. NHL players entering the games were briefed on officiating standards, penalties, and discipline policies ahead of competition. That adjustment applied to all teams equally as tournament play approached. Canada and the United States were placed in separate preliminary groups, meaning a potential meeting would only occur during elimination rounds. Schedules released by organizers showed both teams facing multiple opponents before advancing to quarterfinal play. Seeding and point totals from group matches will determine advancement. As the tournament moved closer to its opening game,